like, these were the kind of questions that I had to answer, and I was like, यार मैं इसके लिए इतना सब कुछ कर रहा हूँ, and they don't even value whatever it is, right? So, 3 years from those days, like everything changed. आज इस हिमालय से कोई गंगा निकलनी चाहिए.
Exactly.
हर सीने में एक आग लगनी चाहिए. There's this. I used to like read this out quite often when I was doing my first startup. Passion is fine, hunger is fine, hard work is fine, but ecosystem is also equally important, and people don't give enough importance to that.
Hello and welcome to an exciting new episode of Fintech Ki Baat. In today's episode, we have with us Mr. Manish Shara, founder and CEO of Zet. Zet is a very uniquely poised fintech that has been out and about to kind of increase the penetration of credit and financial services across the country. And without further ado, I think Mr. Manish, over to you. Would love to hear a bit about what you're building at Zet in a couple of sentences, and I think then we'll deep dive into our first segment called the founder story.
Thank you, Shreyas. So at Zet, we are helping customers in building their credit scores. So we basically, whenever anyone come on our platform, they can basically see their credit score, and then they can also see the factors that impact their credit score in good or bad way. We create AI videos in their own language, which sort of helps them in understanding their credit score and the factors in detail. And then how can they improve their credit score? We offer them products which sort of help them get there. So this is what we do at Zet.
Beautiful. I think this is super important for a country that is growing in population and workforce at such a large scale, and more people become eligible for credit but are not aware of the implications of kind of messing with it, or kind of even by mistake defaulting and all of that. So I think this kind of awareness and the products that you have built, which we'll deep dive into in our second segment, I think those would be really helpful. Having said that, Mr. Manish, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure having you here. Let us kind of dive into our first segment, the founder story. This is all about you. We'd love to learn, how your journey started. How was your career trajectory like? What kind of brought you from there to building your own company and everything in between. So, let's start from the top. Like, how did you kind of, what has your career journey been like so far?
So my career journey is not like very straightforward. It has lots of ups and downs, and obviously a lot of luck, I would say. So I'm born and brought up in Jaipur, Rajasthan. I've done computer science engineering from Jaipur. I'm doing business since I was 16 years old. So kind of there since I was like, growing up, that doing something of my own excites me. And most importantly, looking things from new perspective and try to figure out how can we create value from that is something which I sort of get kick from. So I'm doing this from when I was 16, I would say. Yeah. So then I did engineering. After engineering, I started a company because that was the obvious choice that, since I'm doing this, I would want to start. So I started a services company in Jaipur. I come from. So we used to create websites, and at that point in time, there were not many apps. So we used to create apps, but for US and UK clients. And I did that for 1 year. And while I was doing that, I had sort of, created a small team of 10-15 people. I used to sort of, get these projects from online websites that used to exist at that point in time. And while I was doing that, it sort of always kept coming to me that, is this the real business or entrepreneurship? Because at one point in time, I used to feel that this is like a job only. Just that I'm working it for people who are giving me projects. This is not like true entrepreneurship, because I'm not able to see any value creation or anything new that I'm able to do. It's just that I get requirements, I get them delivered, and I get paid for it. So it sort of became monotonous after 6 to 9 months, and I was looking for sort of ways to break that thing. So while I was doing that, one thing occurred to me that these hyper local shops, they run like a lot of offers, like someone would give it outside
Right.
their shop, and then there are these large chains at that point in time, used to be like Reliance Fresh, More, etc., etc., and then they used to give like a full newspaper ad just to communicate that today आज चीनी कितने की मिल रही है रिलायंस में, और आज यहाँ पे,
Yes.
and there was a brand coupons, something like that. They used
Yes,
to give
yes.
like always 80%, 80, and the entire newspaper used to be filled with all these ads. So I was like, I am a retailer. What are the channels that are available to me to sort of push my offers to people living nearby? That was the starting point of something like, which is what culminated into my first startup. The name of the company was Offer Mundi. So as the name suggests, we used to collect offers from all the shopkeepers, and then those shopkeepers basically list their offers on our website. The good things were, which I was sort of very excited, was that I was giving an online visibility to a business which was very new at that point in time. And there were a lot of people who used to look forward to these newspaper ads just to decide where they want to go and shop today. So it was like a platform for these customers to discover offers, like a hyper-local offer network, which was not there at that point in time. So that started sort of, I would not say kicked off, but that sort of started giving some positive signals. So kept on building on that. Later, Offer Mandi became Simplify. Simplify was a mobile app. Offer Mandi was a web version. In Simplify, one thing was that not just offer discovery, you can actually chat with these retailers. So now it is very convenient for a customer to basically discover offer and chat with the retailer saying that I am coming at this time. Do you have this? Do you have that? So whatever we do while we step into a retail store, we can do that via chat. And this was like very new at that point in time, right? This was 2012, 2013, WhatsApp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, WhatsApp.
More than a decade back.
Getting started. Getting started. There was no Amazon in India. It was only Flipkart and Snapdeal. Snapdeal had just pivoted from a deal website to like an e-commerce, and there were a lot of e-commerce websites that don't exist today. EAB and all these things, right? So it was a new thing at that point in time. Got lucky. Simplify me, I got like a seed round or an incubation round from T Labs, which was like an incubation arm of Times Internet.
Hyderabad based. वो वाला था कि अलग? अच्छा.
Yeah. So Times Internet, this was like the new thing that they were doing. They used to incubate 7-8 startups similar to YC. So I was one of the companies in one of their batches, and I think that became like a big turning point in my career, because before that it was all me and my insights from Jaipur, which I was able to trying to build something online, and my services company was running, which was giving me some cash, etc. But when I got into T Labs, that was my first exposure to things like what is your value proposition, what's your CAC, what's your LTV, what's your GTM, how will you define
proper startup की दुनिया का exposure मिल गया वहाँ पे
proper, like वो 6 महीने में मैंने I think जितना सीखा है और जितनी transformation उन 6 महीनों ने मुझे दी है, I think that was like one of the turning points in my life so far, I would say.
Makes sense.
So yeah, that happened. Ran Simplify for again a year or so. There were again some inherent challenges, and I would say it was timing more than the concept. And that's where the very important lesson of my life is. Ki, it's not just about the ideas all the time. It's also about the timing.
True.
Like you can't create another, I would say another large payments app without being really disruptive. That time has gone. So again, like timing is very critical, and in my case, that point in time, app penetration was very less. That was very new thing, so people were not comfortable in chatting, which I assumed. On the supply side, these retailers were getting to understand the concept of being online, and because these e-commerce players were not there was no threat at all. So it was like a lot of explaining and telling them that this is actually not a vitamin, it's a painkiller. you will be disrupted in few years from here and you should be a part of this platform. And they were like, अरे sir, फुर्सत ही नहीं है, टाइम ही नहीं है, कौन बैठ के चैट करेगा, कब आ जाएगा, like you know, these were the kind of questions that I had to answer, and I was like, यार मैं इसके लिए इतना सब कुछ कर रहा हूँ and they don't even value whatever it is, right? So like 3 years from those days, like everything changed.
Good.
So yeah, that was it. I could not sort of scale that platform. That's how I got into Times Internet, because I had some relationship with Times in the form of Simplify. So got into Times Internet. I think during those days, when I joined Times Internet, that was the time they acquired Dineout, which was again a hyperlocal platform catering to restaurants. And I had the hyperlocal experience of onboarding merchants, and that was like a hyperlocal platform. So there were synergies, and therefore I joined Dineout in Times Internet. Eventually became the product and growth head of Dineout. Worked there for 5 years. Left just before COVID, like 2-3 months before COVID. When I started again, the name of the company was OneCode, and now we are known as Zet. So this has been my journey. Happy to answer or go in detail in case you want to cover anything.
Yeah, amazing journey so far. I think through and through entrepreneurship, I think apart from the Times internet gig that you had, I think where you were kind of managing the Dineout piece for a bit.
Yeah,
I think super interesting.
And it was an entrepreneurial stint only. I stayed for so long because one thing was that I used to work with founders and they were very entrepreneurial. So I never felt that I am actually doing a job. It was always like no problem. And at that point in time, restaurant reservation was such a new thing, which I've just experienced in my startup also. You know, and they were already large food platforms, and we were always struggling that what is our right to exist. That was the question most of the time. And when you are again and again in that loop, you are pushed a lot to basically figure out something which customer really want. And that part is something which I used to enjoy, as I told you in the beginning, right? So looking at things from a fresh perspective and figuring out opportunities. So Dineout I got like ample opportunities to basically do that. And therefore I was able to sort of stick to that company for almost 5 years. And so I always describe that as like another entrepreneurial stint.
Makes sense. I think this is super awesome. What normally the question kind of comes, a lot of our audiences are those people who kind of are about to get into entrepreneurship, or sometime next in the near future kind of want to get into entrepreneurship. Amidst all the chaos that entrepreneurship brings with you, how do you kind of manage to stay sane yourself and level-headed so that you can think through it? And even more important than that is financial खुद का finances कैसे sort रखे so that you can take the required risks, the rightful risks, so that you can push your venture forward. What are your views on that?
So see, I'll cover the last part first. So I have friends who have sort of started with 12 months of runway, their personal runway, but ultimately did not work out. I started with less than 6 months of runway, and somehow I was lucky and were able to sort of get through. So it is so dynamic, and the market and the industry that you are in changes so fast sometimes that there is no right answer to this, right? I think, but what I generally advise is that having a 12 to 18 months cushion is bare minimum, because first 3-4 months, so you will only be able to figure out, give some shape to your idea. Like, you will be able to maybe talk to few customers, build an MVP, register your domain, register your company, try to convince 1 or 2 people to work with you in lesser salary, your salary, whatever those dynamics are. It takes at least 3 to 4 months to get started. It's not even started. Now it's just a platform where now you think you will start. And then another 2 quarters is something which is like a rigorous PMF phase where you're just talking to customers, getting a lot of feedback, trying to build, trying to hone. Sometimes you are pushed in a way that whatever you are building, is it even needed? Or or if it is needed in what form or the other. And this requires like a lot of unlearning at your end, because
Makes
as
sense.
an entrepreneur, we do this mistake quite often, that we get so excited with what we have thought that it's very difficult to change that. And it requires a lot of maturity and humility to go, and you have to go through these cycles multiple times, fail multiple times, to realize that whatever you think is not the end, it is not even the beginning. So all these learnings, all these things take their own time, and by the time you get out of this, you see that 1 year is over, right? And from that point, if you don't have at least 6 months more, and it also depends in what phase of life you are. If you are just graduated from college, you don't have much expenses, you can still go on, you can live in a PG with 3 of your friends and survive at 10,000, 15,000, then you might give yourself some more time. But if you have family, if you have responsibilities, and if you have fixed expenses to take care of, then less than 6 months is when anxiety creeps in. Less than 6 months is the time when you sort of start doubting yourself, start thinking yourself, all these things which people are telling you that this is not going to work, you somehow start to believe that is it just my madness, or is there is something to it? And when you are going through that mindset of just re-evaluating and recalibrating in case something has not worked out yet, then it's very difficult to come out of that. So to give you some more cushion, at least 2 quarters is needed. So I think 18 months ka like expenses you should have or keep aside if you want to, if you don't want to be pushed a lot, and if you don't want to just rush and build it and just try. But still, as I said, there is no right answer to this. I have seen people having this much and still give up.
Makes sense. And I think what really kind of also intrigued me in what you said is that as entrepreneurs, sometimes you kind of get super excited about what you had initially thought, and it becomes very difficult for you to go back, change your perspective, and come back. How does that cycle normally work for people, and how do you kind of get the right mindset for it? Normally, one is being passionate about what the initial idea that you thought, and the second is कि ये नहीं तो पूरा zero हो गया, अभी वापस से सोचना पड़ेगा grounds up, and that also gets that kicks in that anxiety factor कि अभी वापस zero से start करना पड़ेगा सोचना भी. And 6 महीने का runway चले गया because you are bleeding, right? So how do you kind of manage that entire piece?
So see, one thing is, obviously it depends on why you are running a business. I give this advice to like a lot of friends around me, because some of them have seen me and they're like, yeah, this is something which we also want to experience in life, And I tell them that if you do not have like a strong urge towards a particular problem, you really care and feel about it, it is not going to last. Because if you are just being a bit opportunistic at that point in time, for example, this is like an AI wave. Now, just because the AI wave is going on, I just try and force myself to figure out problems around me which can be solved through AI. Also, I am not passionate about AI. I am not passionate about that problem. I just feel that AI is growing up, and this time, you have to build something in AI, and this is the reason I have sort of pushing myself to basically figure out a use case which can be solved through AI. Now, this might work for few people, but for large part of people, this is a short way to fail, because your excitement was only because you see an industry which is growing up. There's nothing more to this, and such excitement, such motivations don't last at all.
Makes sense.
So one thing which you have to be really mindful about is it like just to sound cool, and it's because some industry is going through have some massive tailwind, or is it like really you care about solving that problem? This is like an important part to it. And if it is not, then you go and work in a startup, you go and work with founders. I work with Dineout founders, and that has sort of helped me in shaping my thought process, my life, my career in a big way. So it is not always that the idea has to be yours. It can always be like that you join someone who has that passion and who has figured that out. And
Makes
so this
sense.
is one critical aspect of keep going, right? I think this is the only thing that matters, why you have sort of decided to get into.
That is super important. Just riding a wave doesn't really make sense. अगर passionately वो एक I don't know, there was this वो एक dialogue था, I forgot. एक अंदर वो आग होती है, वो आग जलनी चाहिए for that problem. If you're just doing it for the money or for that specific, just for the sake of cashing in on the wave, it most likely won't really turn out to be in your favor.
I can relate to what you're saying. That line, ना, आज इस हिमालय से कोई गंगा निकलनी चाहिए.
Exactly.
हर सीने में एक आग लगनी चाहिए. There's this. I used to like read this out quite often when I was doing my first startup. Therefore, I know this.
बिल्कुल. मुझे वो पूरा याद नहीं आ रहा, but it's a very beautiful statement and a very powerful one.
But अब नहीं याद आ रहा है.
बिल्कुल. तो वो एक था, but I think no, it really makes sense of what you said. Having spoken about that piece ki, you need to be deeply passionate about what you're building, the problem that you're solving. What was it that you were really passionate about when you kind of set out to build OneCode and erstwhile OneCode, now Zet?
Yeah, so see, OneCode, the insight was referrals. So in Dineout, most loyal customers were coming through referrals. And when I sort of tried to scale that up, like the referral as a channel, because I was also taking care of growth, was given to me to scale referral as a medium in Dineout. And when I decided that, and at that point in time, it has already crept in my mind that, I've spent 5 years in Dineout and now I want to do something more in it. Because, after a time you become so comfortable, no matter how challenging the environment is, but you sort of create your own place. Now you can't be disrupted in that organization because you have sort of seen that journey, and you started sort of feeling that you've become bit complacent and that fire and that thing, you still need something more. So I was looking for like something challenging at that point in time, and this project was given to me. And when I looked at it, I saw that referral programs have not changed since forever. I don't know since when. You still have those alphanumeric codes. Every app will have a different code, and you have to apply the code, etc. And I was like, if I have to, and this is one mental model that I sort of use a lot, is that let's imagine that this does not exist. In this world, I have to build this. What will I do? What helps me is that this question keeps all the past baggage out. So at that point in time, if I thought that if I have to think of referrals today, what it will look like. So I was like, आज की दुनिया में मेरा आधार कार्ड एक है, मेरा पैन कार्ड एक है, मेरा ईमेल एड्रेस एक है, बट मेरा हर ऐप पे रेफरल कोड अलग क्यों है? So I should have just one referral code through which I should be able to refer every website. What's the harm? And then why my bonus is locked in. So for example, if I don't wear specs, then I don't have the motivation to refer Lenskart to anyone, because मुझे पता है जो पैसा आएगा वो Lenskart wallet में आएगा और वो मैं use करूँगा नहीं.
True.
So I was like, can I solve these two problems where I should have just one code? This was the name. So I should have just one code which should work on all the partner platforms. This will actually create like a reseller network on ground for all the partners, and people who are passionate about any brand will have like a lot more incentive to talk about that product, because it just becomes very easy for me to refer.
Interesting.
And the second part was that whenever someone will apply my OneCode on that partner platform and do a transaction, I should just get affiliate commission, which is like a standard affiliate model. So that affiliate commission should come in my bank account because I have done my work. I've referred. I've given you the customer just like Facebook and Google do. So, so that like again, the problem I felt I felt that problem because I was seeing that from a business perspective in the Dineout. And then there were Dineout ke jo customers hote the, there were a lot of college going kids, and I was also like 28 at that point in time. So that kick off getting that extra money just from your everyday conversation was very different, right? So I was like, maybe I can merge these two things and create something viral for these D2C brands. So imagine like this became the insight, and this became the starting point of OneCode.
I see. That's a super interesting story. I was not expecting that this would be stemming from a referral model. While I didn't know the feet on street wala piece that is there, and selling of services and upselling of services as a part of it. But ye kabhi click nahi hua, and now I think when I connect the dots, it makes a lot more sense. So which were the services, I mean,
And
and this is a question for the next segment, but I cannot stop myself. Sorry?
Just 30 seconds.
Anji.
Should I continue? Yeah. So I just wanted to connect this to the point which I made earlier, that you have to be really passionate about something, because otherwise it does not last. So creating impact in the form of, or giving money back to people, like uplifting them, was always close to my heart. In Simplify, I was trying to help retailers in making more money. Here, one thing was that I was like, if I'm able to create this platform and scale this, then actually it is going to generate and give money to a lot of people.
True.
And this money will come from these large, social media apps. So in a way, right, it was like that I am able to basically diversify some marketing or advertisement that is happening online, and give this money to people, and ultimately they will be able to earn a better life. So this giving better life to people who will refer their friends via OneCode was something I deeply care about.
Makes sense. Well, I think that's a kind of really good cause in this thing as well, right? You want to kind of divest essentially the investment going on the online marketing piece to, and in India's case, when you have so many people around, when you have such a large population that can actually benefit from, and one is the way things have already worked, I mean always worked in India, is word of mouth has always been more powerful here. So given that, if you have people who are actively recommending things that they're passionate about and are getting rewarded about it and can make a living out of it, why not? Like, that kind of really makes sense.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think that's a beautiful cause to kind of work on. And how did it, if I may ask, I think I'm not able to place this question either in the previous segment or this next segment or this one, but anyways, how do you kind of what made the transition from OneCode to Zet, and does that philosophy still there, or you kind of completely diverted into the financial services sector?
So I think it's like an evolution, I would say. So we started with OneCode, we were very horizontal.
Right.
And there was a deep desire to basically give more money to people so that they can live a better life.
Right.
So then when I was doing OneCode, I was like, just by selling face wash and all these things, it's not going to work. So you have to figure out industry where it's not a good to have network, it is a must have network. So when I looked at that, fintech was the obvious choice. In fact, financial products, because their feet on street was very big. It was way bigger than digital acquisition. So it was not just a good to have network, it is a must to have, it is a must have network. And there was so much thickness, they were working with multiple DSAs offline, like there was a lot of chaos. And on the other side, these people would earn way more. Like for selling a credit card, they used to get like 2,000, 3,000 rupees. So if I am able to sell just 2-3 cards a month, that makes a huge impact in my life. Because I'm talking about someone who is either unemployed, semi-employed. So we used to focus on semi-employed people. Now, who is a semi-employed people? Anyone who is earning less than 15,000 rupees for us was semi-employed. So they they are working, but they're not able to basically, meeting their ends meet. So for that, I think this became like an obvious choice that we have to figure out something in financial products. In financial products, at that point in time, it's still like 5 large categories exist: insurance, payments, banking, credit, and wealth, like something like that. So we were like that investment, these people will not be able to sell because you require a lot of certificates, etc. Payments, there is no money. Credit was the only thing which was sort of picking up, because this was just after COVID. Banks were sort of focusing on giving credit to a lot of customers.
Right.
What really helped us at that point in time is digital transformation. So that wasn't still exists, but these big banks were moving from offline distribution to online distribution. For the first time, they had end-to-end online journeys, and they were willing to partner with companies who give them online distribution. So we were no one, we never did fintech, but still were able to partner with all the banks, because we were telling them that, we will converge these two things. Like, we will give you the trust of what an offline channel does, which is like a physical, but it will happen through your online channels. So this is scale a lot. So because we were able to find these two things, credit became our ikigai, and we decided to focus. We started with credit cards, and then sort of forayed into personal loans. And again, the model was same. On the supply side, you have all the banks and NBFCs, and on this side, you have these people who will sell credit cards and loans to their customers. Now, the theme was very clear. Can I create like an impact in the life of these people who are not earning enough? And can I give them 5,000-10,000 rupees extra every month, which sort of be able to uplift their life? Now, while I was doing that, now this is where a big twist comes, right? When I was doing this and we were scaling OneCode and, we were doing all of this, we realized credit penetration is it's still not a very big problem now. Because now people understand that, you can go to Play Store, search for free loan, get loan, and, all these 100 apps would come and you can install and take like 5,000-10,000 rupees loan. What was happening was that people were getting this credit at like exorbitant prices, like, 100%, 200%, 60%, 70%. And they did not calculate the percentage. They were like, sir, 5,000 आया है, 7,500 रुपए देना है 2 महीने में, और अब वो इस ट्रैप में फंस गए हैं, बट उनको ये नहीं पता कि वो कितना ज्यादा दे रहे हैं. So basically a lot of these lending apps became like an online version of those loan sharks, offline sharks, and that used to pinch a lot. The second problem was that people were very desperate to get credit, but they were not able to get, and a large part of that came from their credit score. So I was like, credit score is a tool which can solve these two problems. If you have a healthy credit score, you get affordable credit. I'm using this word affordable credit, which was like non-existent that time. And the second point was, if I am not able to get credit, I will be eligible to get credit if I have healthy credit score. So I think these two problems can be solved at large. And again, it is stemming from the fact that, can I give more money to people? If I'm making credit affordable, I'm able to get more money, and therefore I'm able to do something which I'm not. And if I'm not eligible for credit, then again I'm eligible for credit and I am able to do this. So that core philosophy is still there. It's just that now we've figured out the right mechanism to solve this at scale. So with improving credit score, with educating credit score, telling you about all these factors, I'm actually making credit affordable for you and making you credit ready, which is a large part of our thesis. I can get into detail, like there is a lot of awareness around credit score, but beyond that people don't understand it at all. अभी तो मतलब parliament में भी बोल चुके हैं, सब कुछ बोल चुका है. It is so opaque. People don't understand what factors contribute, what extent, etc., etc. And we are trying our luck through technology to solve that for customers, making it as possible.
Makes sense. Perfect. No, I think I completely get that piece. And like that kind of also clears out how the movement into financial services happened. It kind of seems like a natural extension of this for the people that you're catering to, in terms of empowering them to earn livelihood through that OneCode mechanism.
Yeah.
Having said that, right? Kind of dovetailing back into the founders piece. Before we kind of get full-fledged into our Fintech Ki Baat segment. What are the 3 lessons that you would want to leave our audiences with, essentially the budding entrepreneurs out there? 3 don'ts from your side.
Yeah, so I think I've covered the first don't, is that don't just do it because it is cool or it's because there is some wave. Figure out if you really or deeply care about that problem. Then only jump into this, because after this life will be very different. After Shark Tank in India, still like it looks simple, it looks cool, but it's not. You will be challenged, you will be questioned a lot more times. Second thing is, which I have seen this, even if you deeply care about a problem, sometimes people become so obsessed that they just don't accept the fact that they will have to revisit, rechange, or maybe it is not worth solving a problem. So I have seen people struggling for months just because they have read it that hard work and hustle can change things. It can change, but you also have to be you should have that willingness to change within yourself. If you look at my journey so far, this is our like fourth pivot of sorts. It's not a pivot for us, it's an evolution, but we are constantly, figuring out, what are the right problems, how do we sort of take this, further with sticking core, which is what delights me the most, is like enabling or empowering a lot of people on ground through technology. So this is one thing, you don't have to be like very stubborn. You have to be receptive with the feedback. You have to be receptive with what customers are telling you, and that willingness to change is very important. The third thing is, a lot of time, and I always tell this, that if you have never done this, the idea is to first work with someone or, have like a mentor of sorts who have done this. Because as an entrepreneur, what I've seen is there are a lot of decisions that you take, and there are a lot of common mistakes that you do while doing those decisions, which can simply be avoided now, because there are a lot of people who have tried this. You don't need to basically repeat all those mistakes or reinvent the wheel.
True.
But just because you don't have like right mentors or an ecosystem around you, and this is especially true for people in tier 2 colleges and tier 2 cities, where still it is an evolving concept. In IITs and IIMs, you still have this infrastructure now where, someone or the other, your professor, your senior, etc., have gone through that phase in some form or the other, and you have that ecosystem that connect. But beyond that, it is still not existent. And people don't understand the importance of having that ecosystem around you.
Good.
So so that is very critical, because, whether it is a hiring decision, whether it is figuring out who your co-founder should be, whether you should have co-founder or not, what's your pricing strategy, when you should spend money, when you should raise, how you should raise, to whom you should raise, is it a business where you should raise at all or not? These are all sort of questions which you have to go through when you're running a business. There is no two ways about it.
Makes sense.
And you end up repeating those mistakes with already million people have done in India, just because you don't have that ecosystem around you. So build that ecosystem, be a part of that ecosystem. It's very, very important, and it will require a lot of effort. I have done that. There are a lot of people who go to these networking events, exchange cards, and that's done. It's not even like 0.1% of that. You have to take that pain of pinging someone 2 times, 3 times, being okay with someone ignoring you, just figure out, meeting someone at breakfast, lunch. If you have to travel, go to a different city to meet someone, it all has to be done. Like while I was in Dineout, I used to ping like a lot of industry leaders and go and do breakfast with them, just try to understand, because I was doing product management in Dineout, and I was like heading product and did not have like a product experience of sorts. So where will this come from? So I used to go to meet a lot of product heads, like, make my trip ke product head ko ping kar diya, piche pad gaya, breakfast pe gaya, and, have these questions like team building, team management, KRAs, OKRs, all these things have sort of gathered from what other people are doing. So I think this is also a very important aspect. Passion is fine, hunger is fine, hard work is fine, but ecosystem is also equally important. And people don't give enough importance to that. So this is a third don't which I'll tell.
Makes sense. Perfect. No, I think those are like amazing 3 lessons. Thank you so much, and I'm pretty sure our audience will find it really useful. Having said that, I think we conclude our first segment, the founder's story. It's been an incredible journey of yours, and thank you so much for sharing it with us.